Kia ora, nama ki te whare, welcome to The House, Kolui Kolonzaho. The week in politics began with yet another chapter in the ongoing saga of internal tensions within Te Pāti Māori, with the party meeting with iwi leaders at Parliament this morning. These kinds of political dramas tend to dominate headlines and capture much of the public's attention. Meanwhile, though, a highly contentious piece of legislation, the
Regulatory Standards Bill,
was back in the House today, following consideration by the Finance and Expenditure Select Committee. But what does it actually do? Here's David Seymour.
in a nutshell, if red tape and regulation are holding New Zealanders back because politicians find it politically rewarding to tie them in red tape, then we need to make regulating less rewarding for politicians by putting more sunlight on their activities. And that is how the Regulatory Standards Bill will help New Zealand get its mojo back. This bill turns the explanation from politicians passing laws that restrict our freedoms from because we said so into because here is the justification according to a set of principles. And to the rest of the colleagues across the House, if you want to tax someone, if you want to take or impair their property, if you want to restrict their livelihood, well, you can still do it. But you'll face tough questions about the impacts that those actions have on people's property rights, their freedom, and the compliance of your proposal with the rule of law.
During a bill's second reading, it's usually expected that the minister in charge will outline the committee's recommended changes and indicate which ones the government has chosen to adopt, if any.
Mr Speaker, I'd like to thank the Finance and Expenditure Committee for its very efficient consideration of the bill. I would like to also acknowledge the changes that they have made to the Regulatory Standards Board, in my view strengthening the bill by enhancing its independence, by saying that it will be reinforced by the Governor-General rather than the Minister for Regulation. I believe that that is going to make the Regulatory Standards Bill a much more august body with more authority, and it will allow that board to further raise the quality of the the consistency accountability statements.
While being considered by the committee, the bill attracted 159,000 submissions, the vast majority of which opposed it as a whole. The sheer number of submissions for or against the bill doesn't directly affect its progress. If anything, it can be taken as a reflection of the zeitgeist of those who have engaged with the legislative process. At the end of the day, the government holds a majority both in the House and on most committees, giving it the mandate to advance legislation, whether public submissions are overwhelmingly negative or positive. Still, though, opposition MPs are quick to highlight such disparities between perceived public opinion and government action. Here's Labour's Duncan Webb.
One thing that struck me about the submissions process was the long list of submitters who came in and gave really thoughtful submissions. Not people from particular perspectives, but NGOs, even government organisations came in and said, this is a bad idea. You know who looks after our legislative quality at the moment? The Legislation Design and Advisory Committee. Excellent body, thoughtful people, hate politics. They said these principles are novel and deeply contestable. In other words, this is not a straightforward bill. This is a politically charged ideological bill. What did the Law Society say? It's striking that the process and content of the bill purporting to promote good lawmaking and high-quality legislation should fail to meet not only the bill's own standards, but the existing established processes for supporting good lawmaking.
That bill now moves on to the Committee of the Whole House stage. I te whakarongo koe ki te whare. You've been listening to The House, a program made with funding from Parliament's Office of the Clerk. Mātua.